Welcome to another episode of Planet Nerdtooine. I am your host, Nerdtooine. We do a whole assortment of comic book related content here. If you like reviews, breakdowns, interviews with creators, great topics, news, all of that good stuff, try give us a like, a share, a follow. It does great for the channel. And without further ado, let's introduce my esteemed co-host, the one, the only, Year of the Collector. What is up, my friend? How are we doing today?
We are very excited because we have a special guest, uh, not announced. It was kind of a last minute thing, but we're very happy that he's here. And I'm super stoked that we can, share this space with some friends from the hobby of comic books, a fellow collector, reader, and um,
Soon to be more.
soon to be more. We'll let him share the news.
All right, without further ado, let's welcome in Mr. Danny Fresh. How are we doing tonight?
Hello, boys. Always excited to be a special guest.
You're
Thanks for having
a
me.
very special guest.
Very special guest. That is quite an intro soundtrack you got there, man.
Well,
I,
thank
I
you.
know,
I
right?
tried.
That's some production values. Goes hard.
I freaking love it. It feels like we're about to jump into some sci-fi movie from
I
you
figured
know
it's like we're going to
studios.
Planet Nerdtooine. Let's freaking
Well,
let's go.
do it.
Let's
Make
do
a
it,
run.
man.
Hit the hyperdrive and go.
Punch it.
Listen,
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate
no. Thank you for being here because I know as a uh, former Illuminati, it's kind of hard
it.
to book you.
Don't blow it up, man. You
It's
know we
fine.
can't talk
It's
about
fine.
that.
It's fine. I'm not gonna jump into that, but we have a former Illuminati member in our podcast. It's kind of a big deal. So yeah, anybody out there watching, or if you have your own podcast, I promise you, you never have a former member of the Illuminati in your podcast. Okay, so
Well,
welcome that.
I've had some interesting life experiences. Year really enjoys hearing stories about them. That's the summarized version, but I'm happy to share life stories that I can tell.
I like the mysteriousness. It's so delectable.
Man, listen, like I said, we're happy that you're here. So, for people that don't know Danny's a fellow content creator. He's been out of the spotlight for a while because life be lifing sometimes, and he took a
Life be
break.
lifing.
And he used to do interviews. He has his own YouTube channel. He's all over social media. He used to have a Discord server. I don't know if you still have it. Um,
It's passive. You know I was very, like you said, I was very active. I do a fresh take culture and comics. You can go check out the old videos. If you're a Torrin Grumback fan, for example, I think I had a really great interview with her before she was on like 19 different books now. So if you want to get some early perspective with her, talk to different indie creators, and also talk like comic book movies and pop culture stuff. And yeah, you can find me on the different socials under Danny Fresh or under Fresh Take Culture and Comics. But yeah, we were real active, and then the last year-ish or so has just, for a number of reasons, been real chaotic. But I'm poking my head back out and getting more involved, and looking forward to chop it up with the comic community.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I know the feeling. Like, I had my solo podcast went for about 100 episodes, and I just crashed. I was like, I'm done. I was off all social media again, and it took me a while to get back. And then when
You got to take breaks sometimes, man. You gotta. It's hard. It's for your benefit and everyone's probably. It's good to take a little step back sometimes.
No, absolutely. I think especially if you use it right. If you take the step back and get a little bit more perspective on either your situation or where you're trying to head or where you're leaving, that's always a good thing. 'Cause that's what I did. Like, I was like, all right, this isn't working. I got to figure something out. That's when I started writing my comic. That's when I started, doing more reviews and getting more into stuff like that. And then Year was doing his podcast with over in Crossover Comics. And then when that kind of
Mhm.
fell through, I was like, well,
Yeah.
year
So
is mine. Like,
Bro,
I
snatch
also
me the same week we canceled the other podcast.
that's
no,
listen,
no, it's even
that's a
worse. I
big
appeared on the
testament to
last
your
episode. I
Oh,
appeared on
true.
the last episode and left with year.
listen, that's a testament to your good taste. Yours the best, man.
I
Yeah,
love you guys.
and like I mean, I'm sure you guys are experiencing this. I'm not breaking any news too, but it also gets pretty negative on the socials.
What?
And yeah, and like whatever. I'm all for what's the way I phrase it? Like I'm for intellectual integrity. So if we disagree because we're like intellectually assessing something and like coming to different conclusions, I'm down.
Right.
But a lot of it's just like bad faith attacking and like I just needed to step back. And it wasn't even happening to me so much, to be honest. It was just,
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot of sort of toxic behavior. I'm sure it's still going on, but I feel like whatever I've done, I've purged enough of it from my feeds and I'm not feeling it as much these days, you know?
Well,
It's
good for
taken
you,
on,
man.
it's taken on like a new form. It's not like direct attacks anymore. It's more of like passively aggressively trying to just get under people's skin without really doing anything wrong. Because like they're watching the guidelines, making sure they don't do anything that can get them in trouble, but
Mm.
still digging the knife when they can. But hey, listen, that's gonna be kind of anywhere in any type of even like professional world. We talked about this on one of the previous episodes about how politics and political things happen everywhere. Not even talking about like Democrat, Republican politics, just like politic
No, I know what you mean.
in the
in all
background. Just like,
mediums. Yeah, in
yeah,
all mediums.
Right. I just think because I come from it as like fandom and I'm old enough, it's a repeated theme. I'll drop the I'm old card, but I'm old enough to remember when what we're talking about right now was like the very fringes of culture and there was no sort of warm acceptance.
Yep.
And then here it is, this thing that you're sort of fighting for the thing you love, your sort of recognition and like the pop culture sensibility gets front and center in culture, right?
Yep.
So everything you've ever wanted, all that, what's the word? Whatever, pushing you away, to the fringes or whatever. Now you're being welcomed to the center, and then because we're in the same hobby and have same sort of love for something, we're going to go after each other's throats. It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean? No, I agree with you. I think in a lot of ways, political and otherwise, we have shifted towards one end more, and that's how a lot of things have been normalized. And people are everywhere, so fandoms are made of people, and when culture shifts and views shift, and you have different values and morals being pushed more mainstream, that's also affects the fandoms, right? And like you were saying, in content creation, like I said this before, I don't know if I said it to Kyle or not, but people's content, people's love language, people's way of expressing and capturing other people's attention, it's basically rage bait, right? And
Right.
it's become so normalized that people don't even process the fact that they're being baited
Right.
into engaging with this content. And when they
Congrats, you got me to respond.
right,
It's that kind of a thing.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
by the time you responded, you're like 5 comments into this conversation, and then maybe eventually people realize, oh, this person is just baiting me, because
Right.
none of the arguments, none of the takes, none of these point of views hold any water when you think about them for more than like 5 seconds. And that's kind of like what social media has become in platforms where you have the opportunity to engage directly that other creator, right? Because YouTube, it's you watch a video or not, right? But then if you dwell in the comment section, it can be accessible more often than not, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons I like this format, this kind of longer form pods, to me, is because a conversation needs nuance.
Yes.
And there's no reward for nuance, right? Like in the sort of soundbite culture, right? In media right now, and social media and TV news, whatever. Like, there's no reward for being nuanced, for being layered, for being thoughtful,
Correct.
right?
100%.
You know, if you don't have a, you know, if it doesn't bleed, wait, if it bleeds, it leads, that kind of thing, that news thing. I mean, that's slipped into everything now. And yeah, anyway, whatever. I'm saying stuff we all know, but full circle. I had to step back from that stuff,
Right.
and feel like I shook it off a little bit too, you know.
We don't have to worry about that here. We are here on Planet Nerdtooine. We're pretty chill, and then we're not.
Except when we're not.
Hey, I love passion, guys. It doesn't mean we have to be chill.
Oh no. I mean, but just when it comes to the way like we record, like even when we have structured interviews where they have the questions beforehand, it's still just more like people hanging out and having a conversation versus like,
right.
Let's try to steer the questions. Let's try to do this or that. It's just like, all right, we got a general idea we're going to cover. Let's just roll with it and see what happens. And
Sure.
I feel like in that case, we always have at least it's our content. You know what I mean? Like it's never anything fake or masking. We're just us talking about topics that we feel are important to talk about. I mean, and
that's where it's at.
People don't like that, then fuck you.
See, we're chill, except when we're
this
not.
opinion, especially
Exactly. Don't bring up Dan Slott doing any conversation. Don't bring up Joe Quesada.
Don't worry.
Okay,
Don't worry
and we'll behave for the most part.
Don't bring up the Snyderverse. We're good.
No, listen. Speaking of fake, we have an update for our viewers that we brought up in the last episode, I believe, the whole tidal wave shenanigans. Nerdtooine, can you give us a recap on that before we
so basically these new kind of exclusives have kind of started flooding the market. They're done by a company called Tidalwave, and what they do is 100% legal. We have to say that because it is. What they do is they make comic books that are biography comic books, and they take famous figures, famous events, and they tell the story that we all know, which is a very legal thing to do. But what they also have been doing a lot that we've noticed is kind of taking the copyrighted images and kind of just reproducing them and then calling them their own. And that's we reported that DC apparently reached out to key collectors to say, hey, you need to remove this off of your content because it is not a licensed and agreed upon cover. Now, all that being said, and I want to say again, they are legally allowed to make these books because biography is really lax when it comes to being able to make your own of some famous figure. Like in one of the companies that does that is a company called Little Golden Books, and it's like kids books, and they are used. And they, kids read them, and they got Spider-Man books. They've got Jackie Robinson, singers, or rappers, athletes, presidents, actors, and I think that's what the copyright laws were really meant for, was for reading and it to be a learning kind of tool versus collectibles, which is what Tidal Wave is doing. And again, I think while it is legal, it's kind of like the conversation with AI art. It is technically legal, but morally, it's very wrong. And they even do some naughty covers as well. I wonder how some of these famous actresses would feel about having fake nude covers all over the place of them, but that's neither here nor there.
So
I think that might be illegal, but that's a different.
So
well, apparently it doesn't.
The tricky part here, and then there's not a lot of information also right now, but it's like they were tiptoeing the line between copyright infringement or or being legal, right? And the moment they overstepped was when they started borrowing published covers from other authors from other companies and using them into their books, into their quote unquote exclusives, right?
You mean within their, not their own whatever exclusive covers within their storytelling,
for
their
their for
biography telling.
like for example, there was a DC cover that was published by DC that had Joker
Mhm.
and Batgirl on the cover, and they ended up
Right,
using that on one of their tidal wave
right.
books.
I heard about
And
this. Yeah,
right, and then that's when somebody from DC reach out to key collectors, say, hey, don't list this as a DC
published
book
intellectual
or
property.
whatever because they borrowed this from us without permission. And I'm sure behind scenes they're litigating this and trying to like come to a resolution, but they tidal wave it's been tiptoeing the line with copyright infringement, because a lot of those covers for a lot of their books are just straight up a movie poster for like
Mad Max is one of them, like the Mel Gibson one.
right.
It's almost identical. Like when we did this, it's literally it's the Mad Max poster, but they took off the name Mad Max and all the credits, and gave him a glove and a belt. Like, and they're like, oh, it's different. I mean,
Right.
technically, but I feel like it should be close enough where I don't know if that.
They're dancing in lines of
Yeah,
like
I don't know
parody
how
versus
long
Right.
versus whatever.
they're gonna keep like getting away with this, right? Because if it's legal, it's legal. But it's like again, they already got approached by DC. I maybe directly or indirectly. That I'm sure that will come out later. But like if I'm a celebrity and somebody using is making money out of my likeness and they're making like lewd or sexy or
Right.
questionable use of my likeness for their covers so they can sell their books, I will probably have an issue with that at one point. um
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to derail us too much because obviously you guys know more about it and I'm catching up to the information. But it seems to me like, without any of us being lawyers, it seems to me like there are, where the gray areas fall is you've got biographical representation of people's life stories. You've got altered but basically recreations of IP, and then you've literally got basically reprinting of intellectual property
yeah,
and being sold. So like the gradation of like how clearly illegal that is to how fuzzy that is somewhere within that spectrum.
yeah,
And the further they push, the more likely they are to
yeah, I
get
think that they've been
legal
emboldened because
ramifications.
they have been doing this for a hot minute now, and just now finally somebody says something. So
Yeah.
I think they pushed the envelope as far as they could. I don't know if anybody else has approached them or contacted them about this, because um I mean we
Did Key Collector pull the listing?
yeah
Yeah,
from
Okay.
because yeah, and they
That's
put and they made like a whole public
yeah.
post
They
on their
posted. They're the ones
Instagram about it. It was like,
were
hey,
like, this is
we
what
got
happened.
reached out by somebody from DC. They didn't disclose a lot of information
good for them.
for us to like remove
Yeah.
this from the listings because this actually belongs to DC, not Tidal Way, and that's something that they have to figure out over there. But we seen before like celebrities get used to be part of a story, and then the celebrity reach out to the publisher, say, hey, I don't I want to get in on it. I'm not calling you to like for a season in deceased or for you guys to completely shut down. Come in on it,
So
and we'll go forward with the project.
I actually didn't. I caught a little intel that I didn't bring to your attention yet, year, because I knew we were going to talk about it. So one thing I think that's helping them get away with it, and because the people who they're doing the likeness of most of the time are not complaining, because what I'm seeing happening is they make all these covers and then they bring a ton of them to that actor and pay them to sign it. So while they're not getting paid for the likeness, they're getting paid just to sign them. And they don't have to put in any work besides signing. So I
Mm,
think there is some kind of bartering that's going on with some of these creators, which and actors, which if that is the case, by all means, fucking do it. That if they're okay with it, then we need to shut the fuck up. That's just all there is to it. Be 100% honest. Like if these creators are working with the artists or the actors and giving them a cut, whether it's a big one, little one, it doesn't matter. That's our opinions are kind of moot at that point, because if they're not going to push back on it and they're in on it and signing them,
That's
you know,
different. That will
well, like I
completely
said,
shut down this
I
conversation. Then,
I
yeah.
don't want to like put any retailers on blast, but I saw some videos that I know to be authentic of stuff like that happening with multiple artists, multiple actors at that same retailer. Like they're literally just like arm in arms, happy as hell because they just signed a whole bunch of books and made a whole bunch of money. You know what I mean? So like, yeah,
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're reporting basically live as this is happening. Basically, I'm sure something else is going to come up in the future, and when it does, we'll provide updates whether this got resolved or if there's more drama or whatever. We'll make sure that we report on this
yeah.
as soon
And
as we get more information.
and even if we are turn out to be wrong, you know what I mean? Like if somehow they prove all of it's super legal and everyone's okay with it, and we're the ones in the wrong, we'll admit it. At this time, I
Yeah.
don't think we are, but because we've said numerous times, we're not lawyers. We haven't gone over every single code of the law, but we have a general understanding of why it's okay. So you know, until another company tries to step in or do something along those lines, um it's just kind of going to keep happening, and people keep buying them. So there is clearly a market there. They people are buying them and enjoying them, or I don't know if they're trying to,
Collecting them at the very least.
right, you know what I mean, whether they're trying to
Hmm.
buy them to resell them or even just collecting them. I mean, they're moving, you know what I mean. So
Hmm.
there
It's
is
interesting.
a part of the community that either doesn't care or just doesn't know, and that's fine. I mean, if you we say it all the time on here, we don't have to agree with what you're buying and or collecting. That's your money. You can do what you want to do with it. We always just try to give everyone the most informed information. Keep everyone as informed as
Informed,
possible.
up-to-date
I'm gonna keep. I think I like that informed information. That's
Can
my
I can I
catchphrase.
can I zoom out a little bit?
Zoom out.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, like just conceptually
Oh,
for everybody.
yeah.
I'm like I don't know how to do
Yeah,
that on
can I zoom
research.
out my camera? No, no. Well, I'm just thinking about this topic, and you know, one of the things that y- there's a larger conversation going on about, and there's been a lot of like within industry news stories about it recently, about essentially the economics of mainstream publishers. And indie is a relative word, right? Because we have pretty large indie publishers in the
Correct.
comic world versus actual indie, right? But that it's really, we're moving further and further to a sort of an unsustainable living model for a lot of creators.
Yep.
And a lot of that, and that echoes a lot of different forms of media creation right now, and a lot of different, whether it's TV production, film production, etc.
Yep.
Right? It happened to books a long time ago, right? There's very few writers, authors who can make a living writing their books anymore, right? And a big part of this is because the monoculture has kind of slipped away, and basically you can get into whatever sort of super niche you want to be in and get into whatever echo chamber you want, and we kind of divide up everything, right?
Mm.
So like this particular story hasn't even been on my radar. Like I haven't seen these, whatever. And
Yeah.
you're saying if they sell, they've got to probably, right. And there's the my takeaway from the story is we're facing an ever increasingly more rapidly dividing cultural consumption, right? And so tracking down individually, it seems like it'd be a lot easier for something to fly under the radar illegally or immorally or whatever in the concept of creation before any particular individual or entity might even get wind of it,
Yeah,
right? And at that
absolutely.
point, it may already steamroll, and yet could completely like slip off the radar. And I think that is something that, yeah, you brought up AI art and AI art generation and things like that, and like I'm a big believer in like technology is amoral, right? It's how it gets used,
Yes.
right? So as we like accelerate this part, this is going to be pretty intense ground, I think, to figure out kind of the moral and legal rights and wrongs of this stuff is I don't have any great conclusion to that point, but I
No.
find it fascinating.
No, it really is, because then I've had literal wars with people in Discord channels about AI and all this. People are like, "Oh, it's stealing." As the laws say right now, it technically is not. Morally, I feel it is. It should be 100% illegal what they're doing, because they're scraping what is available, and it's not the AI's fault that Google or all these other properties where they get these images from have it available, and it's not their fault what the people who designed it to do that are using it for. It's not the AI that's the problem. And I know I sound like an NRA nut right now. The guns aren't the problem, but in this case, you can't blame a piece of technology, at least not yet. I mean, there's no sentient AI at this point, thankfully. I mean, it's coming eventually. I mean,
yeah, but you can't blame the Industrial Revolution eliminating individual handmade
right.
leather goods or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that for better and worse, because it's both, right? For better and worse, the next thing happens, the next thing happens, the next thing happens. I think we can really fall down a hole here, but the thing with AI that's so unique is the speed at which it is it completely integrating its way into our lives in relationship to the speed to the negative, the incredibly slow ability governmentally to
keep up
respond in
with
any
No
to
development.
regulation.
keep up. So that's really where we're at unique crossroads. But yeah.
Now, listen, my take on AI comes from this documentary that I saw when I was a little kid. It's called Terminator 2. I suggest you go and check it out. It's pretty
Familiar.
revealing. It's pretty revealing.
We have a lot of movies that tell us we shouldn't do this.
No, but listen,
Like I
no,
saw a report. It was like in 4 years we're gonna be able to make dinosaurs. Hold on. Have y'all
hold on.
not watched Jurassic Park? Like, what are we doing here?
Okay, so
But you have government officials who don't understand the internet
right,
still. Do you know what I mean? So
still
still literally do not understand like
Wi-Fi,
what
Wi-Fi
yeah, what a
connectivity.
modem is versus what a Wi-Fi is, where the cloud is, whatever.
Yeah.
So and now you're asking them to jump to AI. It's I'm not even trying to be insulting. It's just not possible from a point of like mental flexibility for them to adjust.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the
and
dawn
because
of the
we've
internet.
created
Like when
yeah,
there's some people that are just so ingrained in how they were prior to it, they couldn't adapt initially. It took them
right.
many years to finally adapt because it's now everywhere. You
But
know,
AI is not going to give you many years. That's
true.
Right.
No, it's not.
But listen,
Absolutely.
going back to Danny's
Sorry,
point
yeah.
about the what things are always going to get phased out or become obsolete as we progress industrially, technologically, whatever. And yes, there's been many things that we don't do anymore because of the industrial revolution and whatnot. But my issue with AI, and I'm speaking for myself here, is that at one point we were promised that this technology was going to make our lives easier, right? Where's the
Oh, yeah.
AI for doing my taxes? Where's
Right.
the AI for filing paperwork, for submitting, I don't know, budget requests, for
Right.
scrubbing law documents, right? No,
Right.
they're using AI is at a place right now where it's like being guided or being modeled or or develop to take away stuff that people want to do, like
Right.
arts, music,
Well, that's the thing.
scripts,
Th- Yeah,
like
that's the thing. We should be creating the art, and they should be doing the
yeah.
task,
Exactly.
right? Like that's the ideal, right? Right.
But that's not
Well,
where
I
we are
mean,
now, and
right.
it
I
doesn't
mean,
look
you
like
want me to do
that.
a few
We
hours on oligarchy? I mean, I don't know.
it's
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, yeah, totally. You know, because that's somewhere where the financial incentive is,
right,
right?
right. But that is my issue with it.
Yeah. Oh,
There could
yeah.
be a financial incentive on developing software, AI software, to facilitate many other things,
Mhm.
except the things that we actually want to do. But
Right.
We should be
Well, that's what
like
I'm saying. The
we should be like the
technology
planet
itself
of it.
is amoral.
yeah,
No, you go.
We should be like the planet in the Mandalorian with Jack Black, where what do you mean there's no jobs? We just relax
Mm-hmm.
and chill all day. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Robots do all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and as sci-fi as that is, we're not that far away from that. It's not just arts. I mean, that's the way it always comes for the arts first, and then it will seep into all of the other industries as well. And I actually made this case, a huge case about this, when the writer's strike was going on and the actors were on strike because their one of their stopping points was AI. And I was like, if
Mm-hmm.
we don't get a hold of this now, it's going to be a steamroll that will just keep going and going and going.
It's
And
gonna be steamroll.
you,
right,
you
but
think so? It's gonna be a steamroll anyway.
it just makes
Uh,
everything so much cheaper. There's it's all comes down to it's going to make almost everything we do cheaper.
let me zoom back from my zoom back. My zoom out from my zoom out. I think it is inevitable to replace the majority of positions. I do think, and um, if you look at the majority of sort of TV, music, whatever, um, much of it is made to be mass consumed without much challenge.
Mhm.
So the idea that AI might fill that section pretty
And
effectively
effortlessly, yeah.
does not seem very difficult. What I think it can't do, and I don't mean like it won't have the ability. This is a little bit of like a talk about nuance. This is a little
Nuance,
bit of
yeah.
a hard one to walk down. Okay, what it can't do is capture you as an audience's soulful reaction to your fellow humans sharing of their soulfulness, right? So did I want to know what you're going through, right? I want to know how you're experiencing this world with me. The AI experiencing the world is not the human existence, right? It's not the human experience of art. And so fundamentally if you want me to give you the most positive spin, for much of human history, if you get outside of our most modern times, for much of human history, artists were celebrated. There were less of them, but they were able to live on their art because they were revered as an important part of a healthy society, right?
Right.
At some point, we shifted a model to more of it was better than less of it that was of a higher quality. So if we get less but higher quality, that can be something worth celebrating if we are allowed access as audience and community
Yep.
to that, if the gatekeepers allow us still to have that, right? And so that's where this stuff gets really interesting to me, and why I say that unto itself it's amoral. How do we put it in implementation? The momentum is certainly negative. The momentum, I agree with you, Year. The momentum is certainly, it'll just be another tool to extract as much as those that have can get from those that don't have.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the majority of where we're at right now. But I don't think that is fait accompli. Like I do think there is
Hope.
hope as dim as hope may be. It's not hopeless.
Right.
You know.
Okay, Mr. Boy Scout, Mr. Superman fan. Oh,
That's a
we've got
rare.
hope.
That's a corner I'm not usually on.
Hey,
Anyway.
listen, man. Hey, listen. Being hopeful is the new punk rock, okay? And
Yeah,
it,
apparently.
yeah,
So
so
James Gunn told me, man.
Well, yeah, and there is also something to the point you made about feeling another human connection through the creation of things. Like, sure, can a AI model probably write a comic similar to mine, and sure, can an AI art probably draw similar to Martin's quality for my comic? Absolutely. But the people that are really backing the book, it's not just the quality; it's
Mhm.
because they saw the struggle that I did to make it. So now they
Right.
see it completed. They're like, oh my God, we need to celebrate this. This is
that's
awesome.
Right.
listen, that's a great point. Like if you give me a book that was created by AI and you have to like elevator pitch it to me, like I don't see how would that play out against you giving me your elevator pitch for the story that you're trying to put out in the world. Like there's a huge gap between, you know, the the desire and the drive of a creator to put something out versus like, you know, I wrote a couple prompts here and here's this cool story. uh Maybe you want to check it out. I don't know how somebody would pitch me an AI book. Like honestly, I've never been in a
Well,
scenario like that. But
right.
you know,
Pitch you an AI book or have AI pitch you a book?
Both.
either or.
Okay, so
Yeah,
so so
either
let me
or.
be so here. I'll be a little controversial now.
Ooh, here we
This is
go.
nice. So I and I'll talk more about this another time. But I am currently writing a comic, and I'm not using AI to write the comic.
Liar. No, just kidding.
Obviously,
I can testify to that. I can testify to that.
but composing the pitch to go to publishers, I find a little daunting. So saying to AI, here's my comic strip, here are my themes, here's what I'm trying to get across, here's where the story is going. Can you take that information and structure that into a pitch that I
Right.
can give to publishers? I find very helpful and actually enables me as a creator, because while the writing and crafting of the comic is something coming from like love and passion, doing that pitch is like really uncomfortable and difficult and would be a roadblock for me moving forward with that. It is enabling me, right? So that's,
No,
you know what I'm saying?
that's a good way to use that too. But at the end, you are gonna revise that pitch that
Of
the
course,
AI will produce, and you will
of
tweak
course.
it where you find it necessary to
Right,
convey the message specifically how you want it to be conveyed.
Right.
So at the end of the
right.
day, it'll
Yeah,
draft you something, but you still have to
yeah.
go back and revise it and rewrite some
And
things.
and right
Yeah,
now it's still full of mistakes. 2 years from now, it might be able to do my voice though. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah.
No, for sure. And you know,
But anyway,
and
whatever.
you know, and some people would see that as you're a criminal because all
Mhm.
AI is a problem. It's all illegal and it's all
Right.
stealing. And I'm like, okay, so you're trying to tell me that my my mother who uses AI to help her make a grocery list, she's a criminal now because she used AI to make a
Right,
fucking
right, right.
grocery list? Are we really
Yeah, no,
arguing this right
listen,
fucking now? Like seriously?
listen. Again, back to nuance, and this is
I
something
do
that
think she's a
I've
criminal.
discussed with Danny before. Like, typically, people of our political leanings, let's say, we tend to have certain characters that don't accept anything that we eat our own, and that's
Oh yeah.
more prominent on our side of the spectrum, right? And we can't just like, we're not gonna make everybody happy, right? And if you are using AI to scrub elevator pitch from your own work, who are you stealing from? It's your own work,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm, mhm.
yeah,
That's a
no,
Right,
very
right,
good
right,
point.
right.
I,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah.
honest, I didn't even make that connection. I'm like, not
Right.
like, oh yeah, like, how
no, I
dare
know
you
you.
steal from
We're
yourself, Danny?
spitballing here
How
different
dare you?
scenarios, like
Mhm.
the pro argument and the con argument, right? But like it happens. It happens every time you put yourself out there for whatever, or on whatever you're doing. Somebody's always gonna have either a nuance or a non-nuance um, argument against what you're trying to do.
Well, so like in the legal profession, we were talking about legal things earlier and whatnot. There's a paradox going on right now, right?
Right.
Which is, if you're somebody who has a strong sort of logic puzzle brain and can sort of think in legalese, right? Let's say you're somebody who's really good at that and sort of like cohesively argumentative, etc., and sort of creative thinking and that kind of. But you didn't go to law school, you didn't pursue a legal career or whatever, because you were sort of daunted by the legalese writing portion, right? Well, AI could be of tremendous help to you in the legal language structuring, right? So that looks like a path to an easier, could increase the pool of people who might consider that career. At the exact same time, general feeling is AI at this point can function in sort of like legal prep, as well as all the first year like interns and junior associates and whatever. So those jobs are disappearing. So more people think they can do it. That's great. There's going to be less jobs to be had. You know what I mean? So it's just, this whole conversation is so much more complex, and you can't be like, yes, no.
Yeah, no, it's layered.
You can't have the conversation that way.
It's definitely very layered and very complex, because AI is not just being used on art. Like, it's being used in so many things that each scenario, each field, it has its own pros and cons. And like, I didn't even know about, this paradox in the legal world. We're like, oh, we can all do this more, but if we actually employ this tool, eventually it's going to replace the position itself.
Right now. Like, it's happening right now,
so
replacing those jobs.
Yeah, it's much cheaper to have an AI legal.
Learn a trade, kids. That's my answer. Learn a trade. AI is not going to do plumbing. It's not going to do electrical work. Anyway.
Yes.
Right.
So we came here today to talk about AI, and we've done it. Good job, everyone.
Power down.
We
we're plants. No.
See, no, this is why I was excited that Danny was going to be here, because I know Danny was going to bring the heat for a lot of these topics, right? Because like,
I like to fall down lots of strange.
That's we do that all the time. Like that's we literally talk when we prep episodes. We're like, all right, I know this is gonna bring a tangent. So like, I know we're talking about Ultimate Wolverine, but because of something happens, we're gonna go all the way over there, and we're gonna kind of game plan for that, because I just know it's gonna happen. Like the tidal wave stuff was gonna be a small little segment, and it kind of grew and morphed into AI. We're 43 minutes in already. You know what I mean? Like,
this happens all the time. This happens all the time. We always do this. We have planned a bunch of stuff every episode, and then we realize we're 45 minutes in, and we're not even halfway there. So that's why we only threw 3 things at the wall today.
All good.
So
all good.
That being said,
that being said,
we're gonna get back on track now. All right, so not that we don't love these tangents, because I think they need to be said, and it's a good conversation either way. But now we're gonna transition into another big topic that's going on in the comic community right now, when it comes to the speculation market. Now this is not a new thing. Like, there's been a spec market for many years. But I think
it almost destroyed the business in the 90s, right? So
and it looks like it's coming around for round 2. And we were talking before the show about Year wasn't there yet. We were talking before the show about how when we talk about spec, like, it's not something that is inherently bad. We're not saying you can't spec on books. That's not what we're trying to say here. What we always say on the show, especially, is about informed decisions. And you should know exactly what you're getting, and not just hop on the next big trend, the next big FOMO book, just because someone said so, or because that's the book that's now skyrocketing and you want to get it before it gets too expensive. We want you to know, and if you want to do that, by all means, but we need you to know what it is before you do so. And I think a couple books that have really skyrocketed lately help kind of drive that point home. When we're talking about like the Fantastic Four covers that recently went from dollar bin
Oh,
to
I got that. I
it,
got like I have
Year's
like
been tracking it.
yeah. So okay, for this is a conversation that it could be for entry level to the hobby to experience to experts. Doesn't matter. Like we're gonna have to like we're gonna try to cover as much ground as we can. So when it comes to comic books, right? You have the second market and then you have the third market, right? The second market is you going to your comic book store and buying comics from a retailer, right? And that's just my take. I call it the second market because there's already been two transactions before those books got to your comic book store, right? It goes
Right.
from the publisher to the distributor and then to your local comic book store or whoever your retailer is, right?
Hey, think about
And
it when someone says their book sold out, they mean that all the stores bought the book and sold out their stock. That when they
To,
it's not sold out in every single store across the world. There's no way to know that for sure. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. To be fair, the secondary market, if you hear that term, typically does mean the like after you've resold. It's
right,
usually the stuff on eBay or the
right.
comic books or wall books or whatever. But
That's
but for the sake of you're defining it,
right, right. Like we
I'll
all
get
understand what I mean, right? Like,
right.
okay, so you got the second market retailers, and then your third market is where you have your scalpers, your speculators, or collectors that are just curating their collection, right?
Investors, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, um, like
The
Danny has
aftermarket.
a book back there that he bought when he was young uh, at a comic book store. And then when he sells that to me, from him to me, that's the third market, right? Okay. Just want to establish that for everybody that like I said, we're gonna go from like entry level to as much information as we can. Now, the speculation market, um, what it is today is not the same as it used to be in the 90s, right? Like people used to buy comics and hold on to them because they thought they were going to be worth something in the future, not necessarily um, because the value of the book was attached to any other form of media, but because at one point they heard that Superman #1 sold for millions and said, "Oh, all comics are worth money. Let me hold on to mine," right? And that's what drove the speculator market to to in general back in the 90s. Now,
and and publishers then saw that
yep,
as avenue to increase revenue, and therefore that's why you got 7 different X-Men 1 covers, the gold label one, the Spider-Man polybagged in 4 variants. That's where we started getting that
yeah.
variant printing and things like that. It was because people like me, who was like 14 at the time or whatever,
Me too.
would buy each one of those covers because I was like, this is gonna make me mint.
right. I'm gonna send my kids to college one day when I sell this X Factor #1, right? And okay, really quick, the reason the market crashed is because um retailers, your comic book stores, sold this a shitload of #1s, right? And then they pre-order based on those sales, issues #2 and #3, but those took way too long to arrive because of delays, because of bad business practices, you name it. And by the time they got those books in the stores, interest from the consumers, from the market, had basically disappeared. So they ended up holding the bag of all these books with nobody to buy them, right? And a lot of people went out of business because of that, right? That's part of why
Part of it, yeah.
the speculator market helped crash the industry in the 90s. Clearly,
No,
it's not all of it, but we're just talking about speculation here.
and to
Today,
add though that that's starting to happen again because what's more prevalent now more so than in any other time in comic history is there's so many #1s. They keep relaunching to gain that little
so
bit of extra pop to get
let
some
me
more revenue,
let
and
me
then
let
the
me
books die. Like,
let me get there, right?
go ahead.
Speculation
I
today.
jumped the gun. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That's an excellent point. speculation today is tied to other media, right? Like every time there's a rumor or there's an announcement that certain property or certain character is going to be featured in some form of a media adaptation, that drives the market, right? Because collectors, readers, or just people in general want to get their hands on the next big thing, right? And a lot of people want to get those books, hold on to them, and when the demand is the highest, that's when they want to sell, right? That's kind of like 101 the speculation market today. Now, the the issue that the industry has now, especially with the big two, and you guys, can debate me on this if you want, but putting out number ones for different titles, for different characters, for different series, has not become a way to, like, I don't know, suffice that demand for the speculator market. It's more of a business model now. Why? Because if you drop a Captain America number one a month ago by Chip Zdarsky, number one, issue number one is gonna sell whatever it sells, right? By issue number two, sales dropped close to 60%. So they do a 10 issue series, cancel it, cut it, stop it, and within a couple couple months or within the year, they drop a new Captain America just so they can live off the sales of that issue number one. Prime examples of this: Black Panther is Black Panther has had like 6 runs in the last 4 or 5 years. Scarlet Witch has had like 5 different series in the last 3 years, and they're all by the same creative team. It's not like they suck. They're good. They're just getting cut off so they can be relaunched on their issue number one. I mean, they're all written by
I
Steve
push back.
Orlando.
I would push back a little bit on the. Well, two things. One, I push back just a little bit. I generally agree, so I don't want to be. I push back a little bit. One, that I do not think they're all good, and I think that is part of the problem. And I do think it's important to delineate specking in the aftermarket versus rebooting with that first issue, because those are
Two separate things.
they each have problems.
Yeah.
But they're not the same thing, right? And I do actually. So, for example, for my kids, like, I don't mind the legacy numbering as long as that's clear on it, because to me that's more an indication of, like, if you're collecting the continuity, it's there, but here issue one is giving you a jump in point if you haven't gone your way into the book.
Yep.
I would argue it's not actually it's not successful or good. I don't mean morally good. I don't think it's a smart play.
No.
But I don't necessarily think it's a nefarious one. Right.
Right.
They're trying to find a way to retain readership. It's not to force you to buy the one. I'd argue if they did a better job on their quality and continuity and not 5,000 different titles,
Yep.
but like fewer titles with tighter teams and everything like that, they'd be in better shape. But that's a different conversation.
That's fair. And I get when you say, okay, maybe it's the quality, and that's why they're relaunching the series, right? I'll give you that for Captain America,
Spider-Man,
for Black Panther, even Spider-Man, right? But specifically, Scarlet Witch has had 4 or 5 runs by the same writer,
yeah,
right, and the same creative team. So, um,
it'd be interesting to see if those are legacy, like, because Scarlet Witch didn't have her own series for a long time, so they wouldn't be too
she's
high.
had like maybe 5-6 volumes in her entire publishing history, and 3 of those come from like the last 2 years. You see what I'm saying?
You think and maybe they're, I mean, I really don't know, so I'm just guessing. Maybe they're just maybe they just keep on starting it over because they're trying to click. Like, they're hoping somebody finds a team, and instead of recognizing some characters don't sell as well. Like, Scarlet Witch is an important character in Marvel continuity that has never really shined as her own character, no matter how big her power set has made her within the history of Marvel.
Yeah.
And so they keep trying to make fetch happen. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. But so okay. Go ahead.
Sorry. No. He threw a Mean Girls reference, and I had to respond with another one. That's just all. He can't sit with us.
So
But no, he's right.
speculation.
The spec market is different. So just to try to make sure that everyone understands, because we did kind of go back and forth a little bit there. When we're talking about spec, we're talking about uh, a comic's value fluctuating, at least, or in your mind that it could fluctuate, and hoping that you can kind of make it a better and a high ROI, return on investment, to get those books. And before, reason why you brought up the number ones is because back in the day, that was the spec market.
Right.
Before there was the
Number one made it a
MCU
key.
and all this other things that now influence. Like now, like for instance, the Fantastic Four covers we're going to talk about, they're being influenced by simple social media posts, nothing else. And that in and of itself is an issue. But
so for cut me off if you want. So for the sake of furthering the specific conversation, right? Let's define some terms here, right? A major key is a significant comic in comic history. We the thing about a key is you don't know it's a key until it becomes one, right?
Sure.
So you can go key hunting, and that's part of this speculative market, which we should talk about. But a major key is, Amazing Fantasy.
Your blue chips. Your blue chips. Yeah.
Blue chips.
The stuff that's
and
not gonna lose.
Major keys that are not.
Yeah, stuff that's not gonna lose value, regardless.
Most likely.
Right.
Most likely. You could have minor keys, which might be like the first time a character gets his catchphrase, or a key villain, or first team up, and that there's a big range in there that probably is worth a whole other show just to talk about that minor key category.
We actually did. We did a whole episode on it.
Oh, okay. Then there's what I would personally create a separate category, which I would just call cover keys. Like iconic covers that have somehow, which is risky, right? Like cover investing is risky, but some covers have stayed the test of time and have made the jump into key collectibles, and then non-keys.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where most folk are getting themselves into trouble.
Yeah. So the whole reason we bring up this conversations, these topics, is because and we all been victims to this and one, maybe not all season veterans like Danny, because he's been here before this.
We've all cut our L's, man. We've all cut our L's.
Ain't no one batting 1,000 here, people. No one is.
No. But okay, so we want to.
Even Steph Curry misses the free throws.
Yeah, that's very true. We just want you guys to know that there are nefarious characters out there in the industry that will sell you stuff that's not necessarily valuable, stuff that's not gonna hold any value, and they're gonna make some money out of your lack of information, right? Like, let me give you some examples here, right? So we can kind of pick, put some pictures behind this for people that don't know what I'm talking about. I think one of the most egregious examples that I saw in the speculator market was when the Flashpoint movie was coming out, like the live action adaptation with Ezra Miller and the likes. I saw people like Comic Tom. I saw it on Key Collector Comics, where they were pushing Batman Superman number 10 as the first appearance of Supergirl, because Supergirl was going to be in the movie, right? That was not the first appearance of Supergirl, right? The real full context to what they were trying to attach the key status to this book was that Supergirl had not been in comics since she died in Crisis in Infinite Earths, and then she first appeared after her death in that Batman Superman number 10. But what happened? It's a good book. It got good art. It got a good story, right? On any given day, it could have been worth maybe $8, $10, $15, $20 pristine condition. If you want to be gracious with it. Folks got on the internet, right, and started to promote this book as a key, connecting it to the movie Flashpoint. And what happened? That drove the prices, the value, it got inflated artificially until the movie came out. And then what happened is back to a $5, $10 book, right? It was never a key in the sense that they were trying to promote it as a first appearance of Supergirl. It never was, but that's how they sold it, and that's how they got people to buy that book. It listen again, full disclaimer: if you have money to spend and money's not an issue for you, and you want to buy stuff when it's trending, when it's expensive, this is not this conversation doesn't apply to you. But if you're trying to collect, you're trying to read, you're trying to get your hands on on this sort of thing, please do a little bit more research. Like look into the stuff before you spend your hard-earned money, because there are books that will hold their value. There are books that will keep their value or increase value in due time, but there's things that clearly will not. And this was one of the most egregious examples that I seen in the last couple of years. Right. The next example that Kyle wanted to bring up specifically because it just happened recently was, and I had it on the screen before, Fantastic Four number 554. Uh, this cover that Reed Richards is holding the four gesture by Brian Hitch. Amazing cover,
Yeah,
amazing artist, right? And
it is a
then
minor key
right, and then the the cast for the movie, they post
in
just
a
like that,
similar. It wasn't even exact.
right? So before I pass it on to Danny, let me go over the numbers for this book, right? If you go over the sales for specifically Fantastic Four 554 in May, the lowest, and this is just eBay numbers here, right? You can look this up somewhere else if you like, but this is what I
eBay
found out.
sold numbers, so these are
Right.
all easily
Yeah.
available. Anyone wants to
This
double
is
check these?
sold listings. The lowest it went for in May this year, $2.99. The highest it went in May this year was $11.99. Right. Then in June, the lowest 99 cents. The highest $30.58. Maybe because the movie was coming out, people
Yeah,
was trying to get their hands on Fantastic Four comics. It drove the prices up, right? July, again, the lowest was $2.90. The highest was on 31st, July 31st. It went for $87.09. You know when that post came out when Pedro Pascal was on the picture doing this?
the very same day.
July 31st. Now, before I pass it on, we're in August. So far, the lowest sale was $6.50, and the highest was $62.98 back on August 10th. That was the highest. So it's already trending down, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know any better and you saw that book and you thought it was important or it was worth some money because people were paying money for it and you bought it at that time, I'm sorry to tell you, within a year, that book is going to go back to a $5 book,
Yeah.
a $10 book at best,
At best.
at best, right?
Yeah.
Um, go ahead, guys. Like, let me hear your thoughts.
Go ahead, Danny. Get some.
I mean, yeah. Well, a few things. So this makes me feel that. So there's many different ways that a book like that gets hot. Um, they're all problematic ways,
Sure.
but it is worth separating them a little bit in sort of like how are you getting that information when you look at it. But really, regardless of how you're getting the information, at the end of the day, as a collector, and right now I'll scale this, but you'd especially want to kind of start at the bottom. Let's say you're a newer collector or you're just kind of forging your way into sort of the spec market and things like that. you got to protect yourself against yourself, right? Like that was a book that like it got shared everywhere, but the only part that got shared about it was that it was shared. It wasn't like that wasn't one that fell into like everyone, all the influencers, like you got to get this book, right? So that was literally people tripping themselves up.
Yeah.
But sometimes, and same movie and same spec cycle. And while you were doing that, I was just looking this up real quick just to get prices myself. You know, the influencer attempt to sell the Earth X Shalabal as Silver Surfer book, that's a good example of cool book. You know, maybe you're a Silver Surfer collector, you like that continuity, that's worth having in a collection or whatever. But it was whatever it was, a $10, $12 book. Then it was a $50 book, a $60 book, and everyone was like, if they're going to be serious about the Silver Surfer being Shalabal, this is the one you got. And it's like, wait, the actual key, you're talking about Silver Surfer 1, right? And you know, so people know, like, well, okay, obviously, if I'm trying to sell comics and drive sales and things like that, like the amount of people who have pockets for Silver Surfer 1,
right?
Like, who am I talking to, right? But I got a ton of this Earth X book in my collection, so if we can make that a thing right now, I can sell those for $50, turn them over. And I just quickly checked the sales right now. It's selling at $20, $18, something like that. It's going to be a $10 book again. And that's no shade on. I'm making no comment on the movie, her performance, the choice to make it not Norrin Rad. Those are all valid, like conversational topics. But I'm not talking about any of that. Right. I'm just talking about the spec push, right? But then there's the part, and the other book I was looking up is talk about 90s boom. Okay. The other issue with the 90s boom was everything that was every issue that was number one, proven character or not proven character, just was printed in truckloads. So it's just classic supply and demand. So one of the like all-time running jokes is Dark Hawk 1.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're my age, you had 5 copies of Dark Hawk 1 sitting in a box. Or more. That comic was worth literally nothing. And then it wasn't that everyone said you got to go out and get this book, but the rumor was Dark Arc's going to show up in the MCU. And during the bubble, when every character was definitely showing up, every one of those. So that book, and I'm not ashamed, the second I heard that rumor, I sold mine. The second I heard that rumor, right? And, you know, but that's like, people were telling you that's the first appearance. They weren't lying. That is the first appearance. If Darkhawk's actually going to show up and they're going to build him out to be a character, that's actually a significant key. Except the likelihood of that actually coming is pretty slim. Right. So now you got to check with yourself, right? Yep. Like, is this a gamble I want to make? And I would say if you're new, or even if you're moderately new, or like, you got to just, even if you miss it, it's better to miss those swings and hold till you really learn. You know, you think you're 10,000, your Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours, until you've done your hours, until you know this industry. I promise you, this is one of my favorite pieces of advice. I promise you, if you miss that spec, there'll be another one next week.
Yeah. Right.
So don't worry about it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You do not have to chase every rabbit.
We was talking about this when we was kind of like brainstorming for this topic. There was a comic that was in, I want to say, like one of the teasers of the trailers for Deadpool Wolverine, and it was one of those Secret Wars by Alex Ross, right? And the book,
8, if I'm not mistaken,
the book was not a key or anything like that.
Yeah, but people were saying, it's got Emperor Doom's first cover. No, the fuck it wasn't.
But because it was in the teaser or the trailer, the book spiked up, right? And I remember I was like, oh my God,
it's happening again. By the way,
but it's happening again.
The one thing about that specific example is I can understand from a collector's standpoint that was legitimately in the movie. You know what I mean? So that's fucking cool. Okay, like I understand wanting to get that
from a collector's standpoint.
100%.
Right.
Because again, but if that was the reason why you got it, then we're not even talking about you at all right now. We're talking about the people who would say that is the first cover appearance of God Emperor Doom. So you go, oh, so it's also a key. I'm also gonna go grab it. It
But
technically is a
guys,
minor
the
key, but
first
it's not
appearance
worth
of God Emperor Doom is not a key.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Really?
Meaning.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
elaborate, good sir.
Okay. I'm not. I have that book. I have multiple copies. I'm not. I like the character. It's super cool. I'm in on Secret Wars. I love Hickman. I'm not hitting any of it. But if you think that book is turning into Hulk 181 or something, it ain't happening.
Oh,
Right.
no.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not FF5 because the book is FF5. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I'm saying you got to keep perspective when, even if, meaning these things have an arc almost always. Again, I guess what I'm preaching is sometimes you might miss. Okay, sometimes you might miss, but most of the time, even if you really want the book and you think it's worth paying extra for, don't get it when everyone's saying get it.
Right.
Exactly.
Because
no, for sure.
Because when it was 10 and then it's 50, it'll be 25.
Yeah.
Get it when it's 25.
By the time
and okay, you didn't get it when it was 10, but you didn't have to get it when it was 50.
by the time you see the book on somebody's top 10 list, or oh, this is what hot now.
That's right.
It's too late.
Too late.
It's too late.
Too late.
We said it all the time.
If you really want a book, wait it out. Wait it out. Right. Wait it out. If you know it's not a blue chip, big time key, or anything like that, wait it out. Right. Wait it out. And then the other thing is, sometimes as collectors, we don't pay attention to what's like the supply of a certain book, right? And I learned this the hard way, right? It's, for example, X-Men 91, those 6 covers by Jim Lee. Is it a key? That's up for debate. I can't remember what's in there, right? Is it a good cover?
First
Is it new
appearance of
launch?
the themes, but
Does it have new characters? Okay. However, how many
it ain't
copies?
no oversized X-Men.
how many copies of this book
Millions,
are out there?
literally millions. Yeah.
Literally, what is it? 6.5 millions?
There's definitely no comic I have more of.
Right.
Definitely. Definitely. I
so-
mean, it's not even close.
Yeah, I think I'd agree on that too.
A comic that has
I've
6
made
million
exclusive,
copies
I
out
actually have
there.
them.
Is it really
Mhm.
worth a premium, even if it's in pristine condition?
Not at all.
To me, the answer is no, right? And when
Mhm.
you go hunting, you also have to add that into your tool bag, right? It's like, okay, they're asking me right now, whatever. It seems kind of high. Okay, how many copies of this first print issue are out there? Millions? Okay, then no.
Mm.
Keep looking.
So
Keep looking, because somewhere out there in some bargain
Oh
bin
yeah.
is gonna be a copy of this book that you can afford. And
a
especially
whole
X-Men
short
#1.
box.
Yeah.
If anyone's looking for a copy of X-Men #1, I got you.
No, he doesn't. I have it.
All 6.
I
You can
know.
sell it
No,
all
he has
6
none.
at once.
He has none. I have all the copies remaining. Come to see me.
So let me flip it to the other side. The other thing you have to be, this is the influencer stuff drives me nuts. Okay, this variant cover, there's only going to be 500 of them. This is a hot artist. You got though. I'm not saying if you love an artist, it's like an artist is your jam. Like you loves Momoko, you love Momoko, that's your jam. By all means, go get your that's you as a collector. Okay, don't chase hot artist covers because they're hot. Because yes, sometimes you have, decades of creators' back catalog.
I'm gonna grab that
to
prime
show they
example
lasted.
of something right now. Keep going. I got
Sure.
something just right there.
But just because it's limited and just because it's hot, you have to be really careful, because there's no economic incentive higher right now for certain comic influencers that have a large enough reach to be actively promoting low print exclusive variants. That is where, to me, the sketchiest of sketchy stuff is happening right now. And unless it's like, maybe I'll buy something like I love Bill S. Okay, when he dropped a certain exclusive variant or something that's from his store, I just want to have it in my collection. He did a dope ass Something's Killing Children cover. I paid up for it. If it's worth nothing, that's okay because I put it in my collection. I'm not chasing it. Don't chase that stuff. You're gonna get burned 90% of the time.
Yeah, and Danny, maybe he didn't want to say it because, you know, as a former Illuminati, he can't burn those bridges. But I'll say it: there are retailers out there that will say, "Oh, we're gonna do a retailer exclusive for a
Oh
Marvel
man,
or a DC
I know
book
where you're going.
with set artists, and it's gonna be limited to a print of 100 copies." Right? And you're like, oh shit, I got my hands on this exclusive that is limited. Only 100 people in the world got this book. And a year or 2 years later down the road, they do a second print of that book and they don't change anything in the cover.
Mm-hmm.
That
Or whatever. The ink is blue instead of red
right,
or whatever.
diluting not only the amount of copies that were originally supposed to be out there, but also the actual art that was done specifically for that exclusive cover, right? It happens. It happens more than you know, more than you think. Um,
And to piggyback off that, another thing that happens a lot that people don't talk about enough or know about is when they say these are limited to a thousand copies when there are more than 1,000 copies.
Oh yeah.
And then they sell out, and then somehow, oh, we found a random box. No, you didn't find a random box. You had them the whole time, or you just printed
Totally.
more. Like
Totally.
I've actually printed my own comic, so I know how many exactly comics issues were of cover A, cover B, cover C. But there's nothing, and I mean nothing, stopping me from going, let's just go to another print. And so I have another 150, and I can say the initial print run was 500 instead of 350.
Oh, yeah.
No one can stop me from doing that. Besides me, because I won't do that. But I'm just saying,
But
that can be done.
Absolutely. But I'm not even trying to blast. Like, all I'm saying is there are very popular people in our larger circles, right?
Yep.
Who tend to promote specific artists and specific variants of those artists who have a vested financial interest in that book being a hot book to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're new and it's human nature. If you're new and you're trying to learn, and somebody comes off with a certain point of authority and has a certain amount of following, and they're like, "This is the book. You got to get this book." You're like, "Shit, I better get that book."
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's all lies. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying you won't miss a banger that unfortunately did go up. I'm saying most of the time you will get burnt on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have, like Danny said, they have a particular investment in the sale of that particular book. Here's the example. I don't know you remember this when Captain Carter #1 came out.
The dope cover,
right? I mean, yeah, it the character was being speculated because she was going to be in the Doctor Strange movie after being in the What If show and all that, right? This cover initially was announced as a 1:50 ratio, right? And then they took that away, right? Because they printed more, right? This is the What If animation variant cover. This book in its heyday peaked at $150 raw. And I wanted it bad, but I couldn't afford it. So I forgot about it. I waited out. I was like, okay, I'll get there's other good looking covers like by Jen Bartel and Ryan Gonzalez. My wife got me the Ryan Gonzalez. That's that one right there. Like 4 years later, I saw somebody that had it in their collection. They wanted to get rid of it, and it ended up paying like $30 with shipping for a book that when they were telling you that it was hot, that it was a ratio, that it was this, it was that you needed to get it because of the movie, blah, blah, blah. People were out there paying $150 for that book.
Not for nothing, but that's not even her first appearance.
Right.
No,
if you want to be,
it's a variant. It's a variant.
You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't a first appearance. It's just a variant buy. It's a cool cover. I get it. It's a dope cover.
Yeah. So Again, and that's another point, right? Like just like the Supergirl example I was giving you earlier, it was not the first appearance of Captain Carter, right? Just like Captain Carter #1 was not her first appearance.
Right.
It was Exiles, whatever, #6,
Right.
where you saw a Peggy Carter being a Captain
Right.
America for the
Well,
first time, right? So, like, even even if they tell you, hey, this is a #1, it's a key, and it's also tied
Right.
into this next media project where they're gonna be appear. Double check. Ask the people that have
Yeah.
been around for around the block a couple times, because we don't want you wasting your money, or somebody getting a leg up on you because you didn't have all the information.
yeah,
If you have
let
all the
them hold the
information
bag.
and you want to
Like,
spend your money,
Yeah.
come on, hey, like we say in Puerto Rico, like alegría bomba, like go for it, right?
Hmm.
But I hate, and this is why I talk about it this all the time, because we've been around as content creators for 4 or 5 years, whatever the case may be. We've seen waves of readers, collectors, content creators come and go. And
yeah,
like every couple of months, I see it all over again where new people into the habit get taken advantage of.
yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
or
Like those Daredevil books. Like there were influencers coming out, like the trading card pack ones that they're all over whatnot. There were
Oh,
influencers
don't I
legitimately
can't.
going, these are keys, when they're just reprint facsimiles.
facsimiles,
Like,
not even reprints,
come on.
The whatnot
facsimiles.
pack books drive me nuts. I can't even that
No, I agree.
I'll
Listen, I was actually
they drive me
approached by
nuts.
whatnot to get in on the first three of them, and I just kept telling them no. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not interested.
I
Like,
just I don't need comics to be sports card packs where you're chasing.
Oh, we're back to
I don't
that.
need it to be
I don't know
that
if you've
bad.
been paying attention, but
oh yeah.
blind bags and chasers are a thing
I know it's
again.
back. I know I can't stand it. Wait. So I don't want to. Because I'll lose my train here. But I want to give a couple pieces of advice here. So two things, two and a half things. One is I'm going to give you a couple strategies that just let's say you want this, you do want to get in the spec game, and you're overwhelmed with the info, all right, or you don't know who to listen to, whatever. Okay, there's one foolproof way, right? If you're willing to, if you're like, I want to take the risks and I want to have the stuff, but I don't want to when, on Wednesday, go to your comic shop and purchase every first appearance, put them in bags and put them in your boxes. They may not go up at all, but you're whatever one does run, because you're not going to know,
Right.
right? Like you're not going to know what character is going to stand the test of time. Okay. Or if you're like me, I do a lot of digital reading and keep my actual like paper copies. I buy less paper copies these days.
Yeah.
But if I read a comic and I'm like, I loved this comic, I love this character, but like actual read the guts of the comic, I'm like, I better get a few copies of this. This seems awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's you listening to your gut, buying what you like, which at the end of the day, we all say this, right? Buy what you like, you can't lose.
Bingo.
Right.
Absolutely.
The other piece of advice, and there's a current comic that's a really great example of this, kind of falls into the God Emperor Doom category of, it's not a major key book, but it's an earnest key, right, in the more affordable range of things. I mean, I'm sure we all do, but I adore the Sony animated Spider-Man, the Miles films,
Yep.
the Spider-Verse films. Just I adore them. And if you were a comic collector, you probably have the Spider-Punk books anyway, but they popped off when that movie was coming out, and this is going to be the next big thing, right?
I got a story
If
about
you chase that book at that point, you're screwed, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have to say to yourself, that's a cool character, and maybe I'll track the price and see if it comes down. I'm just going to kind of pay attention to it, right? Go on eBay, put it in, put a little, notation bell for you, keep track of the sales of it, whatever.
Right.
And you would have noticed that it was up around 50 or $60. And if you had bought it about a week and a half ago, it was $20. Okay.
yeah. I think
Now
it
they're
peaked like
making
at
an animated show.
$180 at one point.
Raw? No, graded.
I'll double check, but the first,
Okay, maybe you might be right. You might be
yeah,
right.
first
I
Spider
know
Punk,
the Delato
first Spider Punk, it was like Amazing Spider-Man number 9 or number 10.
10.
Yeah,
I think 10. Yeah, the Delato cover, the variant, I popped that. Anyway, point is, it got real hot. Then they just announced they're making a Spider Punk animated series, so that book is now a $40-$50 book again, right?
Yeah.
So now people are going to go rush and get it again.
Yep.
And I'm like, don't just. It's okay. Like, you should have bought it when it was after the hype and it's on 20. I guarantee you're going to be able to afford it. Just wait a couple months, let the hype go down, buy it again for 20.
yeah.
So what do you think? I want to say, when it comes to the, like, what do you think is the higher percentage of people who are going after these FOMO books? Is it people that want to get it, hoping that they will then be able to return the investment and make money off it, or because they just want it? What do you think is the higher? Because when we're talking about that book that was in Wolverine and Deadpool, I 100% understand people going, that was in the movie, I want it just for that. Then that is fine. And if you wanted to pay premium prices for it because you wanted it, there's nothing wrong with that. But like,
well, that's
it's this weird.
I don't know what the percentage
dichotomy.
is, but I'm right. I don't know what the percentage is, but what I'm arguing is, if you learned about that character because of that movie, and now you dig that character, and then that book got too hot, instead of paying when it's, meaning, I'm saying, get the discipline to go, oh my God, I just learned about this character. I really love this character. I really want this book. Okay, just wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Grab it, put it in your thing. And then if you don't do that and you forgot about it and now it's hot again, don't go, oh shit, I forgot about that comic. Let me go get it. Because now you're doing it all over again. I'm suggesting, if you really want to add it, avoid when the heat is on it. You've got to buy these books when the heat isn't on it if you want it for your collection. Or if you feel like, and I'll give you one book that I definitely messed up on, which is we're messed up's the wrong term because I'm happy to have it. But I remember when sorry, let me do this over again. The FOMO of, oh shit, if I don't get it now, it's just gonna keep going up and I won't be able to afford it later. That's where that's where I get myself in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I know enough about books to like know what I want to go in on. I think I know enough about like what actually makes for long-term value, right? But even within that context, even with good long-term blue chip investments, if you got the first miles, okay, that's a great book. That book is it's a banger. Hold on to it. It's going to go up. It's going to go up. It's going to go up. But if you bought it when it was popping, you're probably down 60, 70%.
Yeah.
Now that 67, if you were buying it today, it's still a really expensive book, but you're way off the top. So now's the time to get yourself your first miles. If now you want to get it, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like we were talking before. Sorry, I know you got a story to tell, but like we were talking before about
no.
Referencing comics and stocks. Like, you want to buy when it's low and then sell when it's high. And then listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I haven't profited on a Spec book or two.
Yeah.
And just make that clear, anyone who's listening. One of my first ever Spec books I ever had was the first appearance of White Vision. Before WandaVision came out, I was like, I was literally like, I know this motherfucker's going to show up. I bought a copy for $5. He showed up in the show. I put it up for auction. I started at $5, though, when I paid for it, and ended up selling for $78.
Ooh.
I have never caught more strays in my life than when I told everyone on the internet to not buy that stupid book. And everyone was like, it's going to get us. I got the receipts, man. It's by far the most anyone's ever come for me. And when I was like, please do not buy this book. This is a crazy book to be paid. I don't mean like don't own it. I mean when it's $80. That book,
absolutely.
80, high graded copies of that book went through the roof.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is nuts.
No, absolutely.
And people came after me, man.
Well, no, but see, I bought it prior to him even showing up. I had the feeling before WandaVision. I was like, and they were like $5 at the time because no one gave two shits about White Vision until he showed up in the MCU. And I was like, oh, White Vision. I've known him I love this character always. Stop fucking lying.
But like I'm a huge Something Is Killing the Children fan.
Yes.
Huge. Okay. That's a book that in Spec world, people were hot on it early if you were aware enough about it, and they were right. Okay. Now, if the Spec community hadn't hit it, it may have not gotten on my radar. Okay. But because it got on my radar, I picked up a copy. Fine. Pick up a copy. Read the book. I picked up a copy. I read the book. I was like, this is dope.
Yeah.
And then I went in hard and got a ton of it. And I still, when the team they've got behind it on Netflix, like I think that thing's going to ride hard. I think it's going to be one of the great modern indies. I'm all aboard. But because that wave went that wave, and because I bought it at the $5, at the $6, at the $8, whatever it was, right. I had like low print run, super hot character, gorgeous art. I bought 6 copies of issue 2. I got to sell 4 of them and paid for basically every other comic I bought in that run, right? And I still got my 2/2s. That's the way to do it if you want to go in.
Right.
But read the books, guys.
Yeah. So I gotta sorry I'm sorry I keep jumping here, but you brought up on the children. So I initially, when I heard about the book, I was like, "There's no fucking way that someone's not gonna come for this book. Something is killing the children. The children!" Like in my head, that's all I kept hearing was some Karen going, "The children!" So I was like, "There's no way,
the children."
There's no way this is going to work." And then I read it and was like, "Oh shit, no, this is definitely gonna work." But
yeah,
I missed out on getting. I think I started buying them at like issue 8 or 9, something like that, something in that range. But
after the variant run drop,
when Tynion left DC and walked away from Batman and the Joker, he started his Substack, and it was like $200 to back his Substack. I think maybe it was more than that, but whatever the number was, if he actually paid attention, the people who backed it within the first 48 hours of launch, he sent them a book specifically from his personal collection. And guess what he sent me? A first print, Something's Killing the Children, #1, and it is now triple fucking signed. And I am it is one of my pride and joys. And what I hate is I know one day I'm going to sell it, because one day it's going to be worth so much that I just can't not sell it.
I don't know, man.
Like, no,
maybe,
see, listen,
maybe not.
You know why I know I'm going to end up selling it? Bro. Because I'm funding my comic myself. Like, so I'm not pitching to a publisher who can help back it. So there's going to be a time where I'm be like, shit, that pays the next 4 fucking issues. Brother, damn it. Like, let's do it.
Top right corner there. If you can see put.
Yeah.
That's my ASM 81. I bought it at a comic book convention in 1992 in a high school gymnasium, because that's where they were at in the 90s. Yep. And I walked up to Stan Lee, because that's what you did in the 90s, and he signed it. And then I went right next to John Romita, who was right next to him, and he signed it. And I got those 2 signatures on that book, and I don't care what you offer me for it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so that's fair, because you can't replace that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like as of right now, I can replace it. It'd be expensive, but I could replace it if I did sell that. You can't replace a Stan Lee signature, because that, unfortunately, rest in peace to one of the goats of all goats. I mean, Romita's gone too, right?
Yeah, senior.
Yeah,
senior. Yeah.
Fuck. I'm thinking. I was like, wait a minute, both of them.
Yeah,
no, that's my treasure of treasures.
That's your crown jewel. That's the crown jewel.
Well, because I personally got it signed. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't even like I bought a signed book.
No, exactly.
That was me talking to the man.
Yeah,
you know?
when he sent that to me, I went to MegaCon the next year, met him, and I was like, "Listen, you sent this to me from your personal collection." And he was still charged, because sometimes depending on what booth he's at, he doesn't charge for his signatures. He literally goes, "He's not paying for this." And he signed it, and the cover artist was there too, and they all signed it for free, because he knew that I was one of the ones that was like, Tynion left. He walked away from fucking Batman. All right, I'm gonna support this guy. I have to. He's so good, and I one of the greatest decisions I've made. And we talked about him. He's one of the few writers that we talk about almost every 2 episodes.
Yeah,
somehow
every episode.
He's so talented. He's so good.
He's the real deal.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, and again, just to circle back to the Spec. I mean, with Something That's Killing the Children, that book it's kept its value, but it's up and down, because, first it was a good book, and then it was supposed to only be 10 issues, then they backed it for more, and then they announced the Netflix movie, and then nothing much has really happened since. So, and then it was
Right.
recently announced that it was going to be 100 issues, and now people again are like, oh, let's go back and get number ones now.
But my point is simply this: now, right
It's too late.
now, I would not advise you to chase Something Is Killing the Children.
Absolutely not. Agreed.
Right? Buy new issues because it's a dope series and read it
For
and
sure.
whatever. But don't the print runs are high enough. Everybody knows about it. Like, that moment's gone. But if you had jumped on that at the beginning and been reading that story, and I think if you have them, I think the worst case scenario is you have a great series that I think will stand the test of time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With the Netflix upside. But
Correct.
you can't get in now hoping the Netflix upside gets you somewhere. You have to do that.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah, it's too
Absolutely.
late. It's too late to like
Get
invest.
the trades, read them. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
no, I
fantastic book.
agree.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a single issue type of guy. I read some of it
No.
for hold on.
I don't
No.
see 1,000 fucking short
Your
boxes
single
behind
issue's
you.
over.
Listen, I review like a reissue, like a reprint they did last year for issue 1, and I
Yeah.
actually like sat down and actually read it myself, and I'm like, and that's when I was like, oh shit, like I have to read this, and I ended up buying all the volumes that were out at the time. Like I binge read 8 volumes of Something Is Killing the Children in like a week and a half. Like I was
See, and
like,
that's the way
bro,
to
I
fucking
can't.
do it. Like, you know what I mean? Screw this shit waiting for each new issue to come out. Like,
Yeah, and
just
I guarantee
sit
you,
down and
when
read
they
it for a
drop
whole
number
weekend.
9, I'm gonna get it as soon as possible. It's just that good.
Okay, yeah, but and there's again, we kind of are almost, we're a little bit over our normal one hour and a half. We try to keep it to 1 hour and a half, but we're gonna wrap it up here shortly. But when it comes to again, I can't drive this point home enough. Buy what you love. If you like the series, buy
Always.
it. You can't go
Always.
wrong with having something that you like. If you can't make money back on it, or if you can't, whatever it is you're trying to do, that's fair. That's something that's a whole different conversation. But if you at least are buying something that you love, then it doesn't fucking matter if you have to keep it. It doesn't, because you're
Right.
excited to have it in your collection, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
And also trust your instincts. If you
Yeah.
buy what you love and you like it, other people may also dig it. If they don't, that's okay. You still love it. But if you trust your instincts instead of someone telling you got to get this book,
correct. Yep.
I think you're going to land on the right side more often than not.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts here?
No. Thank you so much, Danny, for
Thanks
coming
for
down
having me on. This was a great
from
conversation, guys.
coming down from Mount Olympus and hanging out with us mere mortals. It's always appreciated. This is gonna carry me for the rest of the month. Such
Good
a
conversation. I appreciate you guys having me on for sure. And when my comic gets a little closer to being ready to talk about to the world, I hope you'll have me back. I'd love to share it with your audience.
When if there is anything that is welcome on Planet Nerdtooine, it's a hard-working member of the community branching out and trying to be the community. And
Right on.
because as someone who's done it and not even very successful in it, it's just it exists now. That's really all I can say about it.
Hey, put something into the world. That's all you can do. Everything will
Exactly.
judge it, but put it into the world.
No, but we definitely thank you for stopping by. We definitely gonna have. I definitely would love to have you on again, whether it's even about your comic or not, because I do like this 3-headed monster we had here. We kind of bounced off each other pretty well, and it kind of worked better than I knew it was gonna work, but I didn't know how well it was gonna work. But yeah,
anytime. It was a pleasure.
So, but yeah, until everyone, thank you so much. We're at almost 1 hour and 40 minutes. If you're still here, you're the real true heroes. We suck. We're sorry for talking your ear off for so long. But if you like this kind of content, talk about comic books and pop culture, all that stuff, please give us a like, share, and follow. It really helps us out in the algorithms, because they're always changing and always kicking our butts. But until next time, you stay nerdy, my friends.